Camden National Bank is celebrating 150 years of supporting the communities of Maine and New Hampshire. And it's all thanks to you. From one location in Camden to 72 banking centres today, our journey has only been possible because of your trust and loyalty. One thing that remains constant is our commitment to giving back, from supporting local businesses at Autumn Gold in Ellsworth, sponsoring the Seaside series in Stonington, to helping the elderly at Acadia Senior College. We're grateful to have this vibrant community be part of our story. And thank you to our partners, Downeast Famous, that's celebrating the people who make this region so special. Here's to the next 150 years together.
Welcome to the Downeast Famous podcast. I'm your host, April Shaw-Beaudoin, and I am joined by my co-host, Jenna Young, who is a hospitality entrepreneur here in Bar Harbor. And we are delighted to have Sam Shaw of Shaw Jewelry in Northeast Harbor today. He's had that shop for more than 40 years. He's an artist, he's a sculptor, he's a jeweler, and a whole lot of other things that we're going to talk about today. So Sam, thanks so much for being here.
It's my honor. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Well, I want to start out with, I know that you originally went to school for geology.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm one of those rare birds that declared their major fall term freshman year because I was drawn to the landscapes in the American Southwest and wanted to know how they were formed. And I always had an interest in art. So after I finished my geology degree, I got a second degree in art because it was efficient and I had enough time.
And did you go to RISD? Is that?
Yes. So the undergraduate degree came from Hartwick College in upstate New York. And when I started my business when I was 24, the jewelry business, I realized very quickly that I had no idea what I was doing and that I needed to become better informed. And so that's when I applied to Rhode Island School of Design and was accepted into the graduate program in a called light metals, which is jewelry.
And you work a lot with metals.
Yes, metals are very forgiving. When you cut something too short, you can add to it without throwing it away, which is difficult in ceramics or glass. And it was started in high school. I took a course in jewelry making and it stuck. I made Christmas presents and they were well received and it was fun and just a hobby. And then that morphed into the business. And the reason why I think I was drawn to jewelry is that I followed the path of least resistance, meaning I was good at it. And so that felt like an obvious choice rather than trying to fit my non-existent skill sets into a more appropriate career. My father wanted me to be a lawyer. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not me.
We're grateful that you did what you did.
Yeah, I'm really grateful too.
I am wearing some jewelry that I got at Sam Shaw's jewelry store. They are not a Sam Shaw piece, though. And I do want to talk about right now, you have the beautiful twig collection.
Yes.
And I want you to share about that.
Okay, so my process is to take wooden twigs that I find on the birch tree right out in front of the gallery. We cut them in 6-inch lengths. And then I send those to a caster who make 18-karat gold facsimiles of that exact twig. So I send them 50 wooden twigs and they send me 50 18-karat gold twigs. And then all of the jewelry is fabricated from those. So every piece is absolutely one of a kind because every twig is one of a kind. So it's a process which gives me great flexibility. I can make anything out of them. It's appropriate to this area, which is very nature-based. And it's what I like doing is fabricating, making things, so rather than casting. So it's a process that lends itself to my vocabulary. And people have been casting things from the natural world for 6,000 years. So this is not a new process. But what I do with them is unique to me. There are certainly other jewelers who work with cast elements from nature, but typically they would make a piece and then make a mold and then repeat that again and again. It's very rare in my observation, to be working like I do.
Yes, for every piece to be so unique.
Completely, yeah.
Ugh, yeah.
Even the left earring and the right earring, they're, if I make another pair like that, they're by definition one of a kind because the twigs are one of a kind.
And you make rings, earrings, necklaces, bracelets,
Everything.
everything.
Even I think I've seen pins. Have you made
Pin, brooches. I
brooches?
even made a whole series of napkin rings,
Mm.
which is actually one of the first products that I made with the twigs because my customer wanted these quirky gem-encrusted napkin rings because he's over-the-top fabulous. And that was one of the first things that I made.
How do you keep yourself from running out of fresh ideas?
It's actually sort of the opposite.
Okay.
How
Oh.
do I have enough time to make all the things that I think about?
That's fascinating.
So
A different problem.
yeah, it's
How
a
do you
different
handle that problem? That's the question I meant to ask.
Yes. So most of my creativity is linear, meaning that I start with something like, let's say this example, some napkin rings.
Mhm.
And the customer says, I want some napkin rings. And so how do I make those unique and fabulous? And the twigs came about. And then it's, well, this could make a really cool bracelet. And then it could make a nice ring. So that's what I mean by linear, is that one idea leads to another.
Mhm.
And occasionally you get these eureka moments where you take a hard left and you make a completely new set of assumptions, which lead to a whole new body of work. And I've been fortunate to have a few of those throughout my career. But the ideas keep flowing, and there just doesn't seem to be enough. Well, there is enough time to make everything I want. And I do. I scratch that itch every day.
Yeah.
So I'm more than an artist. I'd probably say I'm a maker because the desire to make things on a daily basis just never goes away. Certainly there's days I don't make things, but there's many more days where I'm making things from first thing in the morning till late at night, a wide
Everything.
range of things.
Mm-hmm.
There are some locations that are personal to us, and it may be a waterfall or it may be a river mouth. There are certain places where there's just huge amount of energy. There's a place in Arizona, not Scottsdale.
Sedona.
Sonoma, yes, Sonoma.
Sedona.
Sedona,
Mhm.
Sedona, Arizona. And there are...
Like a vortex.
They talk about the
Yeah.
vortex, yeah. So that is a well-known power spot. I went there, it didn't do anything for me.
Mhm.
But Little Cranberry Island, for whatever reason, just seems to attract astonishingly amazing, fabulous people. It punches way above its weight. Ashley Bryant and the restaurant and the museum. It's a beautiful community filled with fabulous people, and all the men out there are handsome and tall and above average, and the fishermen all get along and work together.
Yeah.
And it's just a really quite a magical little place. One of the things I adore about it is my time out there is completely separate from my life in Northeast Harbor. For instance, there's no cell reception, and I choose not to have internet there. I don't really have many books out there. I never get mail out there. I don't bring a computer out there. So when I go out there, I am separate from my life in Northeast Harbor, and I find it a great refuge and a place to recharge, and above all, a space to make things, which is what happens out there.
So would you say that Northeast Harbor more represents the business side of you and the side of you that's focused on jewelry, and then you have this respite that you go to and it separates you from the business side?
100%. And not only that, but Northeast Harbor is very rich and dynamic, because Northeast Harbor, Mount Desert Island, they're all the same to me. And it represents family, and it represents community, and it represents business, and it represents all the fabulous social energy that one finds there. It's very full. It's very enriching for a soul. I say that my work day is my work day is making beautiful things, having gorgeous women come in, tell me how fabulous I am, and then giving me money.
This is a good life you've made for yourself.
How about that? But it's I've got a huge amount of family. I've got tons of cousins, and my daughter just moved back to Southwest Harbor after being in Chicago for 20 years, and bought a house a quarter mile from where she grew up. So that's very gratifying to know that her upbringing on Mount Desert Island with all the wonderful people here is something that she wanted her children to experience. So that's good reflection on her mom, Jane Tawney, and I, and all of her friends who still live in the area.
Yeah. And she wanted to come back.
And
that
she wanted
happens
to
a
come
lot
back.
in Maine. People leave.
Yeah.
April. Yeah. April left and came back.
And came back, yeah.
Maine pulls you back.
You have to get away from something in the specific to be able to appreciate it in general.
Yeah, I think that's really true.
Sam, I want to ask you advice because I'm so inspired by how you let things flow through you, and an idea will come and you will make it. Like you said, you're a maker.
Yes.
What advice do you have for people, maybe like me, who tend to overthink or are afraid of doing it wrong?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of my little mantras is there ain't nothing to it but to do it. And in terms of a fear of making something that isn't pleasing, I can absolutely assure you I make a lot of junk and I have a lot of bad ideas. But my personal approach is to just make it. Because sometimes those bad ideas turn into good ideas. Sometimes those bad ideas or the ugly things that we think aren't up to snuff actually have a part of that which can lead to something which is the good idea. And so that's also part of the linear process, which sometimes that's where the moments of greatest exploration come. So if you're making something, and then you think, oh, I should make this round. I always make it square. I should make it round. And you look at it when it's round and you go, this doesn't look right, because you're used to it when you're making it square. And then later on, you're like, wow, these should always be round. So
The process.
that's where the process, it's the risk taking. And the fulfillment comes in the risk. Because then you have grown, you have stretched, you have expanded your creative vocabulary, and that's always a good thing, is to expand and create more new.
Thank you. It's amazing advice.
Yeah,
I
so
think a
just-
lot of people listening or watching feel that way.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. Make that ugly shit. And then later it's going to be fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah, just
I
wait.
believe you.
Right
I'm
from Sam.
doing it. Yeah. It's great.
In the interview earlier, you were talking about sometimes you have that left turn.
Right.
And you said you've had a few of them
Yeah.
over the course of the 43 years that you have been making things.
Right.
Can you talk about a few of those left turns that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I got out of Rhode Island School of Design in the metals program, my work looked quite a bit like my professor, Louis Mueller and Robin Quigley. And I think that happens a lot. So that was one thing. And then the first really sort of body of work that was mine alone was the beach stone work. So I'm not the first person to use beach stones in jewelry or precious objects, but I did make it my own. And so that was one body of work. And then I would set the beach stones in 22 karat gold as a way to make the beach stones more precious. So if they're just a beach stone on the windowsill, we can acknowledge that they're meaningful, beautiful objects. But when you set them in 22 karat gold, you're really making a statement. This is something of value. So then the 22 karat gold was lying around, and I made a whole series of collections which romanced the color and the texture and the beauty of the high carat gold. And then there was a whole group of gemstones, a gemstone collection. And then that morphed into the twig collection. And along the way, I made a bunch of furniture, which came out of one group of the work that I was doing with from the design school. So these bodies of work often relate. I can trace the path of how they came to be, but it would not be obvious to the observer. So when you talk about these different bodies of work, there's often a connection, there's a thread, even though it is not obvious to someone else. So those left turns happen. Exactly what Jenna was talking about is making something that doesn't look right, but then later you realize, oh, this has some value. I think I can work on this and turn it into something that is more simpatico with your intention.
I think that I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask
Yes,
it anyway.
the answer is yes. The answer is always yes.
Did you ever wholesale did people must have come to you and said, we want to buy this in bulk and have this, and you said, I'm going to guess no.
The answer is yes, I did. So early on in my career, one needs to have income year-round, and my retail store in Northeast Harbor did not produce income off-season. So I had employees, and the way to keep them busy was to go to the wholesale craft shows, which were ascendant in the 80s and 90s, and we got wholesale accounts, and I did send my work all over the United States. It was never high volume, but it was enough to keep my employees busy and me busy and to have an income stream off season. Yeah. The craft movement I really caught that wave. The American craft movement started in the early 1980s and flourished until shortly after the turn of the millennia. And I was very fortunate to be a part of that. And what I mean by that is the American Craft Council shows that were in Baltimore and Rhinebeck and West Springfield. And it was really a great ride. And I have a huge amount of friends from that time. And it was really very fulfilling because we're all making things and that didn't exist before and creating a market and creating the items for the market. And galleries would grow and eventually go out of business. But it was a domestic art movement, much like the arts and craft movement was in Scotland and the United States, much like Art Nouveau was in France and Belgium. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time to have my entire career while that movement had its ascendance, its middle, its peak, and its now demise. The American craft movement is still going, but it is not the same thing, and it is not nearly as vital as it was when I was growing my business.
That's so nostalgic. I used to go to those shows with my mom as a kid. Some of my favorite memories.
Yeah.
Huge shows.
Yeah.
And I guess I didn't make the connection that was over because I lived in Northern Virginia. So I probably went to one of those Baltimore shows.
Yeah.
But I just thought, oh, that's more of a city thing. They don't do that here. But I have some of the best memories. And being in a space where everyone is doing something they're passionate about, now looking back, it was like a vibration that you would feel.
Big energy.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, just hundreds to thousands of people doing what they love the most in one space.
Yeah.
How could you go wrong?
Yeah, it was also much fun.
If anyone can bring it back, it's you, Sam.
Well,
your legacy.
We were all often working in remote areas. And then we would all get together and have these giant parties, and everybody was so happy to see each other. We'd see each other, a few times a year.
Yeah.
It was really a great scene. And it's still going on. There are still craft shows, and there is another generation, but sadly there aren't nearly as many galleries, but to replace them, there are online venues which sell people's work.
True.
Through Etsy
Etsy.
and Fair, and
Yeah.
so it still has legs. It's
That's
not
true.
gone, but it's changed.
Yeah. It's amazing at what you've created in the wake of that era of your life.
Right.
And
Well, you
now it's
mean
this-
that when you don't mean me, you mean us.
No, I really do mean you with Shaw Jewelers.
Oh, okay.
Like in the wake of that, you've created a business that's so stable and stands alone. And I don't know where I was going with that. We
Yeah,
can
well,
scrap
that is astonishing.
No,
I
I
reflect
know.
on this because telling my parents I wanted to be an artist, that's always not the best career path. It's not always so obvious. But, you look at, 8-track tapes and VHS and cassettes and now then digital and then streaming,
Yeah.
and the music platform. They've had, 6 completely different types of businesses that have all gone out of business. If you're in the camera film business, you were out of luck.
Yeah.
It went to digital. And or if you're in the hardware business, Walmart comes into town or Home Depot, and tough luck. So my little tienda there has been astonishingly stable. And it's not like I had any idea when I was 24, but it has been very stable, and mostly because I have fabulous customers. I mean, really, I was very fortunate to live in an area that attracts new customers and also, dare I say it, wealthy customers, because even at 24, I knew that wealthy people were probably going to buy my jewelry more than less wealthy people.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, Northeast Harbor, right 10 miles away from where I lived.
Yeah.
Thank you, Northeast Harbor.
Yeah. That's the place.
We all had the 1% in the early aughts. There was a resistance movement, but I had a bumper sticker that said, "I heart 1%." No, I didn't. I didn't, but
I understand.
But you get it. Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
Thank you, because it drives it's the economic engine of Mount Desert Island.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to acknowledge that. And also,
Yeah, good to acknowledge that. It's like, yes, please, thank you.
the fact.
Thank you very much.
So before we wrap up, Sam, I really would love for you to talk about your figurative work.
Yeah, so that's very important to me. How that came to be was when the origin story is I was redoing a store window in my store, and I thought, well, let's make a diorama about the origin of the universe, because that has so much to do with jewelry. Not, but, and so I had some broken glass and blah, blah, blah. And I realized, well, there needs to be spectators to see the origin of the universe. So I went up, and it turned out I had a number of figures, and I thought, well, this is pretty cool. So I would go to flea markets, and I found other figures that were disassociated from their origin. They were from gaming pieces or models or something. And I have a couple of hundred of them now. And that in those were sort of some doll parts, and I started combining them to make my own new figures. So that got me onto this whole thing about abstracting the human form. So my thesis is part of the 30,000-year-old dialogue of abstracting the human form, going back to cave paintings and sculptures and bronzes. I also am very interested in erotica, and just can't seem to get enough physical touch. It's hard to express my interest in erotica and girls in jewelry, but it is easy to do it in painting and sculpture. So all of my paintings are erotically charged. Almost all of my paintings have a male and a female in them, and they're always naked. And they're always in some kind of activity, not sexual, but they're engaged in a fantasy landscape typically. So the paintings and the sculpture are a result of my interest in people and how we interact with each other. And because I don't have the skills to render humans accurately, because it's really hard to draw a face accurately, at least it is for me. It's very hard to render a hand in clay. So for the sculptures, I take ready-mades in a Duchampian style, where I will find old doll parts and I will rearrange them with epoxy putty and a 2-part Bondo and create humans of my imagination, which may or may not have all their requisite parts because they are abstracted. And it's very curious how an observer can look at these distorted human beings that I have created and reassemble them in their minds so they look okay. I mean, we have that skill. And my paintings as well, they're all wrong, but they are instantly familiar because we know what they look like. We know what humans look like. So we take my incomplete or out of proportion pieces and we reassemble them in our brains so they look right. I mean, it's a very curious phenomenon. I also have people who will come in and see my work and go, "Oh, that is disturbing. Please, no." And I get that, but that also is, I would say, successful because it evokes a response in people. If it's disturbing, it means it touched something in them, and that is a compliment to me. It worked, and sort of another thing, I've taken these things and change the scale on them so we can blow them up through 3D printing. And I, for instance, took a hatchet head, the blade of a hatchet, and I connected it to a baby's leg. And you pick this thing up, and it's a sharp hatchet, but you're holding onto this leg. And man, it feels good. It just, your hand just like naturally is like, oh, this is right, and you're just holding onto this baby's foot. And it feels good because it's a human part, and we know how it feels and it's nice. And, I took those hedge clippers, with the big blades, and instead of that, I replaced the handles with legs. So you got this hedge clipper and you're pulling her legs apart.
Oh my gosh.
Snap, snap, snap.
Where can people see this?
Oh, yes, we've got them. Yeah, no, at my store. Yeah.
At the store.
Yeah, so I have a show every year of my paintings and sculpture.
Okay.
And the reason why I do that is if I have a show, it's a deadline and I have to make this body of work. And
True.
well, it's I'll make it anyhow, but having a date is a great motivator to get the stuff done.
Do you already have that date for 2025, or did we miss it? Was it?
I haven't gotten through 2025. Oh, yes, we've missed it. Yes, it's typically the first weekend in August is when I have my show.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to go next year.
Yes, we'll put it on the calendar.
You, as we've established, are not an overthinker. And I thought it would be fun to do a lightning round where I can ask you questions and it's like 1 to 3 word answer.
Perfect.
Okay. I have my questions. Your favorite material to work with?
Oh, gold.
Okay.
And then ceramic parts. And then painting. Oh,
and
then,
doll parts?
And then, yes, and then lumber.
So I love this. Okay. I want one with all of those
I'm an
together.
omnivore.
Favorite place to go on MDI?
Oh, my imagination. Yeah.
1 word to describe yourself.
Oh, fun.
How often do you have an opening at your gallery?
Every 2 weeks, Thursday nights at the in the Northeasy. The Northeasy is a neighborhood of Northeast Harbor, downtown, in the capital of Mount Desert. That is Shaw Jewelry, Artemis Gallery, Milk and Honey, and the Great Harbor Museum.
Wonderful. And everyone's welcome to that.
Everyone is welcome.
You don't need a ticket or anything.
Yes, we serve tequila and oysters.
Ugh, nothing better. What is the best advice you've received from another artist?
Make it. Make it. Just do it.
And that's
Make
what
it.
you told
Don't
us
worry
today.
about it. Yeah.
You passed it on. Who is a local business that deserves a shout out from Sam Shaw?
Oh, anything that Michael Bolin does.
Oh.
I just love his restaurants. The Isles for Dock restaurant, Copita, those are my favorites. The work that Tim Harrington has done with the Astiku Inn and the Claremont Inn, I think is seminal, and he really deserves a big shout out for the beauty that he has created for these venerable old inns.
Yeah. Thank you. You're out of the hot seat. You're done.
All right.
So other spots on MDI is Hunter's Beach, and the walk from there, from Hunter's Beach, is gorgeous. Yeah,
Yes.
private, beautiful little pocket beach.
Thank you.
So for everyone who's listening or watching and wants to meet Sam Shaw in person or learn more about his art and the things that he makes, where can they find you? What's your physical address and where can they find you online?
So my gallery is in Northeast Harbor, 128 Main Street in Northeast Harbor, on the left side of the street. I've been there for 43 years. And online, my official website for the store is shawjewelry.com, SHAWJEWELRY.com. My figurative work can be found at bodymorphs.net. So that's morphine, the body, BODYMORPHS.net. And Instagram is Shaw Jewelry.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on the show.
April and Jenna, I'm honored. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
and
Sam.
great luck with your podcast.
Thank you.
you.